In a world dominated by the male perspective, it is hard to find stories that tell of the female journey. Most stories about a journey deal with men overcoming immense odds and ending victorious, earning what they worked hard for. However, when it comes to the female journey, very few end with that type of happily ever after. In this video essay, the films Vagabond by Agnes Varda, Wendy and Lucy by Kelly Reichardt, and Safe by Todd Haynes will be analyzed for their depiction of a leading woman trying to overcome the hardships in their life via the female journey. The 1986 film Vagabond, directed by Agnes Varda, tells the hard story of Mona Bergeron, a woman desperately trying to escape society by becoming a hitchhiker in Europe. She is leaving her secretarial job behind to seek a new life far in the countryside where responsibility cannot touch her. On the way, she meets men who disrupt her journey towards independence. One is a goat farmer who offers her work and a place to stay in exchange for her sharing responsibilities in caring for the household. She immediately begins to slack off and leaves the offering of shelter behind, refusing to rejoin that lifestyle. Although living away from society is Mona's optimal lifestyle, it begins to take its toll on her health and physical appearance. Living off the land and friendly handouts gives her no insurance to a meal and bath every day, leading Mona to take on a dirty, unkempt, sickly physical appearance. While this may be her way of shaking off the social pressures of women to look beautiful all the time, it begins to get out of hand. The journey is deteriorating her body slowly as she begins to realize that it is not offering the freedom that she thought it would. She is constantly moving from place to place, having no sense of belongingness, one of the basic human needs. The final moment of Mona's female journey ends in her death. The traveling, lack of food and healthy human interaction, and gloomy lifestyle leads to her sickness. She is found dead in a ditch on a small country farm, far away from society, which is ironically where she thought she wanted to be. Dividing her from the farm is a cold, dark gray iron fence, the opposite of the white picket fence that she was running from. It is behind this fence that Mona finds the end of her journey, frozen to death without a single responsibility, not even to herself and her well-being. Another female journey is told in the story of Wendy and Lucy, the 2008 film directed by Kelly Reichardt. The character of Wendy is traveling to Alaska with her beloved dog Lucy in search of a job at one of the canneries there. Like Mona, Wendy is also running from the indiscernible confines of society that she faced back home, instead choosing the life of a nomad. Unfortunately, Wendy's car breaks down in a small town in Oregon, leaving her stranded for a time without shelter, food, money, or escape. When she steals dog food from a convenience store, she gets arrested and loses Lucy, a devastating blow that shakes Wendy and throws a wrench in her female journey. Throughout the film, Wendy wanders a small town alone in her desperate attempt to find Lucy. A kind local security guard offers her help multiple times, lending her money and his cell phone for her to keep in contact with the town's animal shelter. While this connection was not something Wendy wanted, she had no choice. Another similarity to Mona is Wendy's choice of clothing. The cropped haircut and loose boyish clothing reveals that she does not care much for her appearance, nor for female standards. Instead, this choice is more suitable to the journey she is on, easy to manage and not a big fuss. Finally, after several days of searching, Wendy discovers that Lucy is being cared for by an older man who rescued her from outside the store. However, Lucy is being kept behind a fence in the man's backyard. This fence symbolizes a sense of security and home that Wendy could never truly provide Lucy. It is dividing Wendy from the society that she is running from, but Lucy needs to flourish. Lucy needs to be cared for by someone who lives in that white picket fence world. Wendy could never be that for her. In the end, Wendy decides to do what is best for Lucy by letting her go. By walking away from the fence, Wendy is losing her last piece of home and the life she had before. Todd Haynes' 1995 film Safe offers a different spin on a female's journey away from society. Carol White is a typical 80s suburban housewife who lives comfortably in that white picket fence lifestyle. However, when her body contracts a severe illness that no doctor can diagnose, she turns to a treatment facility that teaches about the body's physical rejection of society and its toxins, Renwood. The Renwood facility tries to treat people who have developed an indiscernible illness due to the toxicity of their environment. Carol's illness is her body's way of rejecting the white picket fence life that she was leading. Unlike Mona and Wendy, Carol does not leave society to be free of it, but because she feels like it is rejecting her. Carol's female journey is one of discovering a new society that better suits her needs as a healthy female citizen. On her journey, she seeks solace in male doctors who cannot seem to find anything wrong with her. They do not appear interested in listening to what Carol has to say about her conditions. The doctor writes off her complaints as stress. The therapist does not even ask her the necessary questions to treat her properly. When Carol checks into Redwood, she hopes to find a cure. Unfortunately, she never finds one in the facility's treatment plan of curing yourself. Redwood's belief of the illness being the fault of the sick entraps Carol in another society. She meets her fence when the director of Redwood, Peter Dunning, approaches her on the front porch at Redwood. Separated by the dark brown wooden railing of the porch, Dunning tells Carol that she is not trying hard enough and it is her fault that she is not getting better. Just like the doctors, Redwood's director disregards Carol's own explanation. In this moment, she is divided by a fence from what she desires most, the healthiness and happiness of the director, and where she is, an illness that grows worse each day with no hope for a cure. By the end of the film, Carol's fate is uncertain, but there seems to be no hope for her. Her female journey leaves her without the sense of safety that she longs for, still ill and trapped in a society that is making it worse. By the end of their journeys, each woman does not meet the fate that they longed for. Mona no longer has responsibilities in life because she no longer has a life to live. Wendy leaves every trace of her previous life behind her, but loses her closest friend and sense of home in the process. Carol's illness sees no improvement, and she finds herself back where she started, trapped, sick, and unsafe. By deserting the white picket fence lifestyle that they felt stuck in, they wind up separated from what they desire by another fence of their making, whether it be Mona's iron fence of structure and responsibility, Wendy's neighborhood fence of belongingness and a home life, or Carol's barrier between the person she's told to be and the person she is. These journeys push the female perspective of relying on society for prosperity, but having to succumb to the demands of feminine social pressures.